Welcome back to another episode of the Pain to Power podcast. I'm so thankful once again for this opportunity. And this episode is the plight of Black faces part 2. The plight of Black faces part 2. I had to talk more about the issues of being a Black person in America, but hopefully provide some motivation for us to continue to march on until our victory is won. Now, in order for morality to win this battle versus hate, some realities I feel need to be faced. The education system has worked well to tell Black individuals that, number one, we don't have much history. Think about how we were taught growing up. The education system has basically told us that one day Black people were slaves, a bunch of white individuals came in and saved the day, they rebuilt the South, which then led to this quiet time of segregation. Then a young woman named Rosa Parks was too tired to move from her seat. Dr. King showed up performing great speeches and marches and suddenly was assassinated on April 4th, 1968. And then Black history just stopped. Maybe at some schools, President Barack Obama is discussed, but I think we know it's not all schools. And I never learned about Malcolm X. I mean the real Malcolm X. So often growing up, Dr. King and Malcolm X were put against each other like they were a versus battle of civil rights. I thought growing up that Dr. King was the one who was all about love and unity, and Brother Malcolm taught violence. Number one, that wasn't his philosophy. And number two, the older you get and really learn about the man and what he stood for, as well as what America stands for, you really begin to understand the philosophy and mission of Brother Malcolm a whole lot more. But along with him, I never learned of Kwame Ture, Angela Davis and the Black Panther Party, James Baldwin, Denmark Vesey, Marcus Garvey, and countless others. I never learned about these individuals because they truly scared racist whites. Because if I learned of them, I would learn how to create power even in turmoil. And the demand for justice will be strong, smart, united, and swift. We are also brainwashed into believing that one movement changed it all. A social movement is an organized group of people and organizations striving toward one goal. There were many people involved in the civil rights movement. But if we're taught that only one person, which is the person holding the mic, makes change, then you get a lot of individuals who ego trip, power trip, wanting the attention and the acclaim, forgetting the work and the sacrifice that comes with being that leader. Then on the flip side, we learn all there is to know about white America and white heroes. We learn of the fairy tale of the American Revolution, being told a story with similarities to the plight of Black America. The 13 colonies had conflict because they were overtaxed. The colonies had conflict with the British because they felt they didn't have representation in Parliament. They felt they didn't have representation in their own government. So with an army led by George Washington, the 13 colonies decided to respond in violence to receive equal rights, fairness, and independence. I don't remember them being called thugs or animals as they looted and threw tea into the Boston Harbor. I learned that George Washington was a hero. I learned that John Adams was a hero. I learned that Thomas Jefferson was a hero. I didn't learn that George Washington had slaves. I didn't know about Thomas Jefferson fathering at least 6 children with Sally Hemings, a slave. I was not taught their hypocrisy. I was brainwashed into believing that the founding fathers were pure white Christian men fighting for God. But while they were fighting for their own freedom, Black families were being separated at slave auctions. Black men and women were being beaten. Black men were seen as animals and were put into fights to the death for money. They were fed guts and worked to the bone. They were seen as 3/5 of a man. This censored education reinforces the constructed philosophy that a white man was better than a Black man, a brown man, or any person of color. A white person can have this same education and have the privilege to use this information to feel powerful and superior, but be brainwashed to be ignorant of the real America and the Black folks to help build this country. The rich watch as poor whites and employees of the racist establishment defend a country that they know nothing about. They defend statues of racist people, crying because they feel their history is being erased. And let's be very clear. Many of these individuals know that these hypocritical legacies forged in stone had racist ideologies and actions. They're just afraid that their racist legacy will be forgotten and their kids won't know their fallen, hate-filled heroes. But my history has never been known. I don't know specifically where my ancestors come from. I don't know the country or village where my family has derived. I don't know about my ancestors that were slaves. I don't know about the plantation that they were on. I don't know the language my ancestors spoke before they were kidnapped and put on the boat. I don't know the food they ate, the religion they had before they came to America. I don't know all about who I am. My history was erased 400 years ago through violence, through change, through sickness, and through death. So I could care less if I don't hear the name Robert E. Lee again. I could care less if I don't see another Confederate flag because it was that history that erased mine and we had to start all over. Now, from a religion standpoint, there has been an uproar over activist Shaun King's comments saying that having Jesus depicted as a white man is also a form of white supremacy. Now, this has been said for years and for decades, but with the current political climate, it has created more of an uproar. It's not because he's wrong, it's not because the statement is controversial, it's because the statement is correct. And if evangelicals, many of whom praise, serve, and idolize our current president, have to worship a guy who doesn't look white, then it's like a hammer hitting the foundation of America. If we begin praising an individual who looks like the people their ancestors enslaved, it can truly help turn white supremacy upside down. For a young child to see an omnipotent being with the same woolly hair, same bronze skin, and someone who is powerful be worshiped in church, it can inspire millions of young black boys and girls. A man who preached love, a man who preached forgiveness, hope, and salvation. Now, Christianity was used to oppress black people as soon as they were brought into slavery, being told that their slave work was God's work, and we should continue to work in oppression for God. This statement by Shaun King led to a group of retired LAPD police officers to create a Facebook group, coming up with a plan to actually kill Mr. King. They want this man to die because he told the truth. They want this man to die because he threatened the white power establishment. The lie of a white Jesus is what made the Ku Klux Klan so strong. They lied and created a narrative that blacks were savages who worked for the devil and for darkness, and the Klan showed up in their white sheets, lynching, looting, and pillaging black communities, justifying their actions as the work for the Lord. If you don't believe me, you can research the movie The Birth of a Nation made in 1915. Created by D.W. Griffith, it depicts black men, of course, as savages, having white men in blackface causing destruction, but it creates the birth of the Ku Klux Klan, depicting them as noble warriors protecting white heritage and white America. This movie was once played in the White House Theater during its release, and it was praised by President Woodrow Wilson. In fact, he is quoted saying, "It is like writing history with lightning, and my only regret is that it is all so terribly true." A former president who is racist to the core. But this lie of superiority is all many races can hang on. They have to hang on to privilege. They have to hang on to the Confederate flag. They have to hang on to our current president and a white Jesus because they all represent a lie that keeps the playing field uneven. And many white Americans, consciously or not, are not able to take that what they thought was natural order is merely an invention or creation used to control. And when this invention is turned on its head, chaos ensues and a fight begins, believing that it is a fight for survival, but it is merely a fight to retain privilege. It is a fight against life, liberty, and justice for all. It is a fight for the black person continuing being 3/5 of a man. A fight for incarceration, poor education, poor schooling, housing, etc. A fight to keep the white person comfortable and the black man and woman separated and buried. Now, one thing I do know is that we are all living in a generation that will not quit. Say what you want about millennials, but young folks are out there fighting for justice. Young folks are impatient and are done with the inequities this country brings. The past and current generations that have fought and are fighting for justice must come together to reach our true potential. We need the wisdom of the fighters before us and the fire of the generation today. We must respect the ones that fought before and stand on their foundation and achieve equity. In doing so, we can understand what went wrong and what didn't, and we can learn how the movement can stay strong and not fall apart. A white supremacist would rather black folk fall apart from within. This was their work for a long time. They worked to bring internal hate on Malcolm X. They added black confidential informants to the civil rights movement. They worked to break up the Black Panther Party internally. We cannot let that happen again. Muhammad Ali has a quote from when he was under persecution for refusing to enlist into the military. He said, "I was determined to be the nigga they couldn't get." We have to be the generation where their tricks, their lies, their bigotry, their hatred does not work this time. We have to be the ones that stay strong together and reach our common goals. We cannot be divided and break up from within. We must work to be the generation that wins. And with God on our side, anything and everything is possible if you follow him with love and not hate. I really do appreciate you for listening. Please feel free to subscribe to the podcast to know when new episodes are coming. I thank you and send my love, and as always, be powerful.